they all use blackmail against each other. And, I was kind of disappointed that when I asked Matt Whitaker about blackmail, he didn't answer that.
That was, I was going to bring that up. I had a note to bring that up because why didn't he answer that question?
Well,
that was disappointing.
It was, because I was like, do we have anything in place for blackmail? I mean, that's top currency in DC.
Right, exactly. That's how they do it.
Because, obviously the people that we have in any federal position, either elected or appointed, right, are all clowns. And obviously the way we clear them is the wrong way, right? So I was very disappointed because he was like, oh, I don't know, I don't know. We don't. And I was like, well, do you know of any? And he was like, oh, I'm not going to give you a dish. I was like, I don't need you to dish it up. I just want to know if you know anything of that. He's like, no, of course you don't. Because we don't have any blackmail protocols in place. That's why you don't. Because if you knew, then you knew all the blackmail I have on them. Because if ever I was called to Congress, oh my gosh, I'd be like, can we talk about this first? Can we talk about that first? I've been talking about Richard Burr. You see how quick that happened?
Yeah.
Over a year and a half ago. I mean, he was in those Steele communications. So was Mark Warner, right? All of them.
Yeah.
And, when I wrote my piece that I said Daniel Jones is in charge, right? Feinstein's little project there that was assigned to her by Obama, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were all connected. Like, it's like, I feel sometimes that the conservative media is doing a huge disservice. And we're talking top names in conservative media, or what you would like to call fair media, right? It's a complete disservice. They say nothing. They say absolutely nothing, and they only report what's already out there. What the heck? Like, what happened to investigative journalists?
Right.
What happened? Because you're like, John Solomon broke, this story of this. I was glad that he found those cases because I wrote about it a while back, in the Ukraine.
Yeah.
And it's like, good. He did a little bit of digging. He brought it up. Why do they have to be told what's right about? Why can't they just do it? Because it's the right thing to do.
Well, I've said this about the media for years, and I think I noticed it, and it probably always was this way, but I noticed it during the OJ trial when they had so many. I was in LA then, and they had so many people that were reporting on it. Every single station in LA, if they weren't on the trial, they were having a panel discussion on it, and they brought all these people in, and they made stars out of them. They made celebrities out of them. And so what was interesting was I noticed that people would listen to only the people that they agreed with their theory or what they were saying. So that's where I noticed that basically what they do is they make celebrities out of these media people. I mean, they pay them multi-million-dollar contracts every year, and all they do is just read from the teleprompter. So basically, I think the media, the journalism, is how you get up the ladder. It's not about investigating or breaking a story. It's about doing what you're told and reporting what somebody tells you to report. So I think a lot of the people who break away, they don't have the skills that normal reporters would have if they came up through the ranks and would have to do investigations and actually get out there and interview people and develop contacts and confidential sources to get information. I think it's all given to them. If anybody has any confidential sources, it's somebody from the government, and that's because they want to control the media and they want to get this story out.
Well, yeah, no, I agree 100%.
I grew up with Walter Cronkite, right? I mean, he was your grandfather, right? I mean, he would never lie to you, and he did. He did, and it's still the same. It's just back then we only had 3 networks. We only had ABC, CBS, and NBC. Right now you've got, I don't know, 20 or 30 mainstream media channels, and it's all personalities. You know what I mean? It's all personalities.
Well, the thing that people don't seem to know is that the majority of the journalists that they see, especially the journalists that have been overseas covering war, have all gone through some shape of intelligence community training. All of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, Walter Cronkite, Connie Chung, they were all, they had trained with the CIA. They had seventh floor access, because they were given information that they were supposed to report. They were told this is a leak, call it a leak, right? The leakiest place right now in our government, it always has been, is what department? It's the State Department. That's the leakiest place, and everybody hates each other there. They're all like, if they get in there, they want to stay there till they die. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
anybody new coming in, or anybody new coming in threatening their chair, whatever that may be, janitor, administrator, whatever, oh dear, you will get dogpiled like nobody's business, because only entitled people work there. So the State Department is the most corrupt, the most disgusting. I mean, it's not called the Foggy Bottom area for nothing, right?
Yeah. Didn't Trump call it the deep state? Didn't he?
It
The
is.
deep
It
state
is the
department.
deep state department. Like, I just keep saying, like, what is Pompeo doing? He's got to be wearing galoshes as high as Nadler pulls up his pants to wade through the swamp in there. Like, there is nobody in there it's like nobody knows how to do their job there. I kid you not.
Yeah.
Having worked with people from the international office, and I'm telling you, like, these idiots don't know what they're doing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're representing our country in foreign policy. And it's like, yep, kind of worked. It's like throwing pasta on the wall and saying, yep, it sticks. These people are dumb.
Mm-hmm.
They're dumb. And that's the problem.
Okay, Jimmy Carter.
How far back do we want to go on Jimmy Carter? I mean, I wasn't born, but we can tie in Feinstein to Jimmy Carter and Pelosi.
Let's do that.
Okay, so back in the 70s, right, we had like this movement called the People's Temple, run by this nutcase called Jim Jones, not to be confused with General Jones, the other nutcase that's running in DC right now.
Right.
But Jim Jones had this church that started, guess where? Indiana. I'm not even going to delve into the Indiana part. Take that hint as you will. And started opening up a lot of like people's temple places all over California. And so this was a cult, okay? Super cult. Like, we're talking not like, Pastafarian cult. I don't know. Are Pastafarians a cult? Can I say that? Because that's supposedly a religion where you believe that there's a pasta monster. So I should take that back. But, I'm just saying, like, these people were like super cult. So this guy had so many people, and they created this camp right out in Africa somewhere. And what they did was they were employed by the Democrats to knock on doors and make phone calls. So every single Democrat in the 70s, including Jimmy Carter, used them. Henry Kissinger had him for dinner. The mayor of San Francisco, before he was offed, right? And before, Feinstein got the slot, they all had him for dinner. Even Harvey Milk, the first gay, it was like an LGBT kind of, well, there wasn't even a T back then, but whatever. The whole alphabet group of, anything different than what they would say is norm. He came out, first gay man. That was pretty awesome, to be open about it and not worried about it. So that happened in the 70s, and they all met with him. They loved Jim Jones, right? But here's what happened. So it's a cult, right? People were giving up all their property, their money, and everything. So this one, I think he was a congressman or senator, Leo Ryan. Was he a congressman?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Leo Ryan. Yeah.
Yeah. He flew out to the compound they had in Africa because he was told by constituents that had family members that went there that it's a cult, that this guy's like raping them. They're just doing stuff. They're just slave labor, basically. They were slave labor, right? But they were slave labor for the Democrats, right?
Mm-hmm.
Slave labor for the Democrats. And so all of them were talking about it, using them and everything, right? All of them. Pelosi, Jimmy Carter to get reelected, to get elected, the whole 9 yards. So this Leo Ryan guy was like, yo, Pelosi, yo, Feinstein. He even asked the San Franciscan, city council, all the advisors, whatever they called them, commissioners, whatever she was called, supervisors. There we go. Will someone come with me? He asked other senators and Congress people, come with me. So we got to go see what it is, because this is harming our constituents. And they're asking me. So he flies there, and he had like a delegation of like another, 9 people with him and 3 reporters, right? So they take the tour and everything, and then they leave. And after they leave, they get shot dead. All of them massacred.
Right.
The congressman, the journalists, the whole delegation massacred. And this happened November, I'm going to say like 12th, 13th. It was around there, right? 1978. So this guy, this group of cultists and Jim Jones massacred them. And then they all committed suicide. It was that mass suicide. So
Right.
Jim Jones and his wife and 909 people, or 919 people, they say, but for the record, they say 909, which is weird. I mean, that number 19, geez, right? So they all commit suicide. And then 7 days later, this guy named Dan White, who was part of the San Franciscan, city council, had resigned. Then he was coming. I don't even know the story. That's like so BS, because they talk about both sides of their mouth, right? But he was a hardworking guy. They had him in check, and he literally goes to the city council. He supposedly goes there with a gun. He had a list of names, and he was part of the Jim Jones cult too. That's what people don't say. And then he goes into the mayor's office, right? Check this out. This is their story. Okay. Now to how BS it is. Okay. So he supposedly crawls in from the basement window, sneaks up to the mayor's office, and waits outside the mayor's office while his secretary is like, "You have to wait." So he waits, right?
Yeah.
And then he goes into the mayor's office, shoots him. Secretary hears nothing, right? Okay. And then he goes out through the back door, through the mayor's hallway, where Pelosi happens to see him, right? She's like, "Hey, where are you going?" He's like, "I'll see you later," and walks off. Now, I want to tell people there's a video I actually uploaded it to my YouTube channel, a video of a historian walking people through the mayor's office and the distance. So Feinstein claims, Feinstein, when she saw him, it was Feinstein, not Pelosi, that saw him in the hallway. She claims that she heard him slam the door of Harvey Milk's office when he went and unloaded a gun on him too, right? And so the distance is like from the entrance of Walmart all the way back to the electronics. Okay, that's a big distance, and I'm just saying that because almost every Walmart has their electronics buried in the back.
Right.
So people can understand the distance. Oh, and around the corner, right? So the historian actually, 40 years later walks you through it, and you're like, wait a minute, how'd she hear it from there? Second, Harvey Milk didn't have an office. The historian said it. He didn't have an office. So how did someone slam a door of an office he didn't have?
The mayor didn't have an office?
No, not the mayor. Harvey Milk, who was the gay council guy.
Oh, yeah. Okay. He was, okay. Yeah, he was on the council. That's right. Supervisor.
Right. Yeah, he was the number 2. And Feinstein said, "Oh, I heard the shot, and I heard his door slam, and then shots fired." I'm like, you heard it from the other side of the building, around the corner, in a very non-acoustic friendly area, because it has like an atrium. So it's not like the echo type atrium. Do you know what I mean? There's
right.
If you see the video from the historian, you're just like, oh my gosh, we should go back and charge Feinstein for lying. Because, I mean, what did the jury do? First of all, the jury was picked. They weren't allowed to pick anyone that liked gay people or was gay, right? So that was like super racist, like super excluding. Oh no, we're not going to have gay people. Second, it's like, didn't the jury ask questions like, how'd you hear it from there again? Because you were in the back secret hallway that was even further away than the mayor's office is. So like, how'd you do that? No one asked her questions. So she claimed that she heard it, and she heard gunshots, and she ran in and stuck her finger in his bullet hole. Where's yeah. And and she was like, oh my gosh. And that's how she made her career. That's how Feinstein became mayor. They all died. She was number 3 in command, kind of like what Pelosi wants to do. And came up on the steps, and she was like, oh, and everyone like voted her in because they were scared of her. He had a list to take out everybody: Harvey Milk, the mayor, Feinstein, because it was a Jim Jones directive. And years later, someone interviewed him right before he suicided himself, right? because he had a whole list. So there he is from the cult with a list, and Feinstein gets away with murder. It's like she knew. There's no way he wouldn't have shot her. She was on the list. She lied, but they already knew he was coming. They knew he was coming because it already was planned. Do you see what I mean? So they knew he was coming. And that's why, here's the kicker. The historian walks you through and tells you that there was no office. Everybody, all 11 supervisors, that includes Feinstein and the Harvey Milk, shared a huge room. There was no office. So how did, it was like a big room with 11 desks. And she even said he was shot at his desk, not his office. Yet, for some reason, Feinstein's testimony talks about an office, the slamming of doors, when there were no doors. And she even said there weren't. And, there was a secretary's office further down. So how'd the secretary say we were right outside when she shows you they're down the hallway, buried somewhere? So it all smells. Nothing makes sense. So that's Feinstein in a nutshell, right? Her career was built on double murder.
And this was to what, 10 days, a week, 2 weeks after the Jodes?
10 days after. So first Leo Ryan, the congressman, gets killed. Then all the people in that compound suicide. And then like 10 days later, Dan White goes on a killing spree. That they knew it. They had the directive. They knew, because the minute they killed themselves and Leo Ryan they got information that they had planned and sent out messages to other operatives to just, activate them and go and kill people. Because even Dan White said, I don't know, they used the Twinkie defense. Do you remember that?
No.
Yeah. Okay. This is the most insane stuff. So this Dan White guy got like 6 years, which is weird, in jail for shooting the mayor and the second in command, right? That made this huge scandal. He got 6 years, but guess how they defended him? They said the reason he lost his mind is because he ate a lot of Twinkies. It's called the Twinkie defense. Look it up.
Oh gosh.
Like, you want to pull your, he didn't have a lot of money, so he ate a lot of junk food. So, he's crazy. So that's why he committed a crime. And it's like, so you're saying that all those people on food stamps right now, or that don't have money, that can only get junk food to eat, because they don't have a lot of money, should all be pardoned for all the crimes they did because they ate Twinkies. Like, are you kidding?
Wow.
I'm serious. That was the defense they had. It was a sham. No one, paid attention. No one listened to, I want to know, like, obviously the jury was a fix, right? Because just being the juror, I'd be like, okay, well, how far down is the hallway? And how did Feinstein run there so quickly where she stuck her finger in his bullet? I'm just thinking about it and I'm like rolling my eyes so hard I could see my brain. Like, I want to know, how these jury people live with themselves after doing that. And Jimmy Carter used all of these, cultists to get elected.
Yeah.
This is what they did. This is how corrupt they are. They use cults. I mean, you see it. Code Pink, the Black Lives Matter. Those are cults. They are. They're just, Antifa. They're insane.
Yep.
They're insane. They're just, it's like they pick the most craziest people and just like put them together with an idea. Yeah, they're all racist. Yep, totally racist. Let's go. And it's like,
and
no.
Pay him $15 an hour. Right?
Well, yeah.
Soros, yeah.
And while we're on it, if you, I don't know how if you ever followed me on Twitter, but a while back, I had tweeted when Joe was talking smack, hey, cold case Joe, let's get this going. Let's start talking about Klasutis. And now the president is really on it, because I was like, a couple weeks before he called him cold case Joe, I was like, yo, FBI wanted to open up the case. I mean, she kind of fell. Exactly what she fell, hit her head under his desk, died, and suddenly he became NBC and left the Senate all quick. Like, what happened? And now, the president is doing what? He actually retweeted Matt Couch today, who was talking about Lori Klasutis, right? When he was investigating the Seth Rich murder, right? He said that. He was talking about Clasutis because it is a very big deal. That was a very big deal for Florida, and it should be a big deal for everyone. Today, the president tweeted out a blow to her head, body found under his desk, left Congress suddenly, big topic of discussion in Florida, and he's a nut job with bad ratings. Keep digging, use forensic geniuses. It seems like he's going to get what he deserves, and we shouldn't let Feinstein off either because she's a problem.
Yeah, she's got a lot to answer for China anyway.